So what's up guys, and today I want to talk about how progressive overload doesn't always have to be through increasing weight. Sometimes you can progressively overload by keeping the weight the exact same and increasing the range of motion. And sometimes it's actually the best thing to do in certain scenarios. And I'm going to give my client here, Ollie, as an example. So these two leg sessions are about 6 weeks apart. And as you can see on the right hand side, Ollie is getting a little bit deeper with every single rep. Now, this doesn't look like much, but it does mean that the glutes and quads are doing significantly more work for every single rep, meaning he's getting more out of the same weight. For those who struggle to comprehend this, imagine you do a lateral raise, right? And you're stuck using 5 kilo. Now you can do the lateral raise two ways. You can either do a lateral raise with your hands here, elbows bent, and just bring the dumbbell up. Or, I don't know if my hands are going to be in shot right, but you could do the lateral raise with the arm all the way out there. Now that's the same 5 kilo, but it is significantly harder depending on how far away the arm is from the body. You need a bigger lever to move it, right? That's how it works. It's leverages essentially. When you increase range of motion in the same movement, you make leverages harder. And that's why it can be beneficial to increase range of motion or practice increasing range of motion with the same weight, because you make the leverage harder. For me, training this way has 3 big pros. The first one is that you are less likely to get injured, because if you can get strong in those bottom positions or those really hard positions of reps, whether it be squats, bench press, leg press, any pressing movement, but pulling movements also as well. If you can get, or a preacher curl for example, if you can get right to the bottom of a preacher curl and curl back up, you're way less likely to get injured, because those bottom positions are where tears, muscle tears can occur. The second big thing is that you get more out of less weight. And I think this is important for people as you become more advanced, because the weight itself is taxing on recovery. So for example, Ollie here can do 70 kilo squats for 10 reps and try and increase the range of motion. Or he could throw on, because the one on the left isn't bad technique, it's not bad technique, but it's not good technique either, it's not perfect technique. He could throw on another 5 kilo the week after, and then the week after that, and the week after that. And 3 or 4 months down the line, he could be hitting 100 kilo, right? For maybe 6 to 8 reps. But he's going to be absolutely knackered, or more knackered than he would be using 70 kilo. That's because the weight itself is an independent stressor on recovery. So if he can find a way to get more out of the same weight, his body will be less taxed and therefore more recovered going into the next sessions, so he can progress more quick than he would do if he just keeps throwing on weight. The third reason this is important is because as your technique gets better, you actually become more ready for the next weight up. So if you can master 70 kilo squats, when you add on the 1.25s each side and go to 72.5, because your technique is locked in and you already are quite efficient in the movement, you actually get more out of the next weight up as well. So you actually don't need to increase the weight by as much to get the same stimulus as you would do otherwise. Again, meaning you get more out of less weight in the long term. So if you're one of those people that feels that they haven't mastered the technique, then you really should consider plateauing the weight and increasing the range of motion before adding more weight. I've recently taken this approach to my own training, and I've really tried to focus on getting that bottom range of motion on all pressing movements. I didn't used to always come down right to my collarbone or even the bottom of my chest. I would sometimes leave about ½ an inch to an inch off the bottom and do a slight pause instead. The slight pause made up for the fact that I couldn't get the range of motion because I was still in control of the weight, so I didn't mind adding the slight pause. But now, especially as the weight's getting heavier, I really want to focus on getting that bottom range of motion. The same goes for another client of mine called Dan. Dan is also a little bit older than me. He's in his mid-30s. And I feel like this is where injury prevention becomes more important. I'm 23 myself. Dan has come to me and mentioned shoulder pain before. And he was also like me, where he would just leave an inch off the bottom on shoulder movements just because it was slightly uncomfortable to get to that bottom position. But now, rather than adding more weight, because Dan is quite strong. He can do 80 kilo a side on bench press. I would way rather him try to progress by keeping the weight at 80 kilo and adding that extra range of motion at the bottom. Long term, this will be so much better for him and his shoulder joint, because it means he can safely execute awkward angles and get strong in really awkward positions. The idea is to drastically reduce the amount of muscle imbalances within the muscle, not between muscles, but within the shoulder joint itself. So it's just a short video for me today, covering the topic of range of motion and the importance of it, because I do think it's overlooked in the fitness industry. Because as humans, we like to see measurable progress and quantifiable progress. We find it way easier to just increase the weight and get the same number of reps, because that way we know there's no doubt that we've progressed. What we don't like is the immeasurable sort of stuff, the 50-50 grey area, or maybe I got an extra inch on my leg press. It's less fun to do, and it's also it's harder to measure. So those two factors combined means that people don't really think about it too much. But I hope this video brings to light the idea that you should be trying to progress by increasing your range of motion and perfecting your technique. And that is what I wanted to cover today. So if that has helped, please like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.